Hi again, everyone. We've got two good guys with us today to talk about Georgia and South Carolina coming up this weekend. Kevin Butler and DJ Shockley, two of the best Bulldogs to ever put on a uniform at UGA, and we're glad to have them here to talk about the Bulldogs and the Gamecocks. That'll be 7:05 Saturday night, Sanford Stadium, SEC opener. Guys, good to see you. Let's talk a little bit about this Georgia team as they get ready for South Carolina. Kevin, I'll start with you. What do you like so far, 2 games in? What do you like so far about this Georgia Bulldog football team?
Well, Scott, the one thing I really like the most is they've played like their ranking. And that's something I think that Georgia's really been trying to focus on for years, to come out there with a consistent performance. And, through the first 2 games, we have certainly seen a team have to get down there and battle for every inch against Clemson. And then they went out there against UAB, a team that has some talent, but certainly is not anywhere close to Georgia. And Georgia exerted that talent, got a lot of people involved, and just played a really good game. What I like most about them so far, I would say that just the consistency and the focus they're playing and the consistency and the output, no matter if it's first, second, or third string.
I think we really saw that focus last week, Shock, in that win over UAB. What are your thoughts on this team through 2 games? What do you like so far?
Well, Scott, first off, I'm glad that Kev's on here. He's much better looking than OZ, but no, Z. We all love Z. But you know what? I love what Kev talked about. The consistency is a big part of it, because we've seen over the years when you play, competition that sometimes is, not as good as you are, you play down to your competition. I thought the team has done a really good job playing up to the competition, but also winning the situations of a game. And obviously there have been times on offense where you haven't looked good, but then there are times where you think about that last 4 minutes of the Clemson game and you knew you had to go run. You knew you had to go run the football, and you go and do it. This last game versus UAB, Kirby kind of demanded, hey, we want more explosive. We want to go out and dominate this team. And you go out and do that. You win the situations of the game that you're supposed to, and not playing down to your competition, I think is crucial. And I think the Dogs done a good job of that. And, over the years, like we mentioned, there's been times where you play to that competition, or you don't go out and you don't play to the standard that everybody expects Georgia to play to. And for the first 2 ball games, I felt as though they stepped to the plate and done that.
How about areas of improvement through 2 games? Can you see a lot that it's kind of bubbling up where it needs addressing?
Well, you know where I'm going. The field goal kicking.
I think I do, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there hasn't been a whole lot, Scott, that really has stuck its head out. I mean, I know the coaches, when they break it down, they see obviously a lot more going on and a lot more for, challenges for them to get better. But I think for right now, what you have to do is, look at what you need help at. And we need to be more consistent in the field goal. Pod's got off to a shaky start, missing 2 short ones. That comes down to just mechanics. I think a lot of it can be found between the ears on those kind of kicks. And I don't mean it derogatory, but I think sometimes you try to guide a ball. It's much like that 1-foot putt when you're out there on Saturday with your friends and they make you putt that 1-footer. You got to have a nice stroke. You got to have a goal in it. And it just looks like Pod, to me, is trying to steer the ball right now. And you want to stay clear of that. So we just need to, I think, tighten that up, because to be honest with you, I've seen a lot of very positive things from the kicking game especially, but that's the one area that sticks out to me.
Well, we know how important that can be. South Carolina had that situation in their game against East Carolina last week. Parker White kicks 2 field goals in the last 6.5, 7 minutes of the game. I think both were under 40 yards, and then the game winner with 3 seconds left on the clock to win the ball game. So that kicking is certainly a huge aspect. Shock, your thoughts. What do you see that maybe we need to work on?
Well, Kev needs to get some new friends. If they're making him put that 1-footer, they're not his friends. My friends are
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
But for me, Scott, I think it comes down to the run game. I think in the first 2 ball games, we have not been the running attack that everybody expects us to be. Obviously, we got some horses in the backfield. You got some big physical guys up front. But there's just been moments. I think our longest run of the season may have been Stetson Bennett's 20-yard scramble last week. And I know James had a nice 14-yard run there for the touchdown, but I don't think the run game has been as dominant as we want, because we want to be able to establish the run game. We want to use it in the play action. We want to be able to go out and be balanced in the run and pass game. And the run game has just been spotty at times. I think the run game is something we absolutely have to depend on and be a stern test for anybody we play. And you think coming into the season, you would think that running the football like it's been over the past 10, 15 years has been the strength. Well, I think right now running the football has kind of been spotty for us, and we got to find a way to get that going and get that going more consistently.
I think South Carolina is probably saying the same thing. Kevin Harris,
Yeah.
who had over 1,000 yards last season in a COVID shortened season, did not play in the first game, and then had a limited number of carries last week. They've got kind of running game by committee right now, and we were talking before we went on air, so to speak, here about something that Kevin is doing. He's working with mitigating odors. And he was talking about chicken farms, which, we all said, hey, that's appropriate for this week. So how do we mitigate? How do we mitigate that gamecock odor that when they come to town on Saturday, Kev? How do you think that Georgia's going to work to stop South Carolina and whatever they are able to do?
Well, what makes those chicken farms so bad is you got to get the chicken first, and then when you process him, that's what stinks. So it really is that it's going to be that easy for Georgia. They're going to have to really take hold of the game. I think when you start the SEC, the physicality just steps up. I think no matter who you play, no matter where you play, when you know it's that SEC opener, we tend to see teams just play at a different level. So what worries me about that is Georgia needs to be ready for South Carolina's best shot. And they're going to be physical. South Carolina's going to come in here. And again, I like what DJ said. We need to establish that run game, because when you get in the SEC, the run game is part of winning. You do not throw the ball the whole time in the SEC and walk away with a win. So I think that's what it is. Georgia's got to just get very physical from the first play with the Gamecocks and not let them feel like all of a sudden they can get more physical than Georgia. You got to grab that chicken and you got to rip them apart. And that's what they got to do.
Is
it going to be finger licking good, Shock?
I sure hope so, man. Because when it's finger licking good, you went out and had a good piece of bird. So I hope so. You know what? I think the biggest thing for us is making sure we take care of the football. Because like Kevin just said, you give them any hope, you give them any chances, extra opportunities, they're probably going to capitalize. So you got to make sure you can't keep putting your defense in tough spots, getting them backed up, giving them short fields. All that stuff matters. I was looking through some of the stuff that's happened in the first two ball games. Their defense has 4 interceptions and 2 of them for touchdowns. And guess what? They're tied with us and Bama in that same category. So yeah, I know their opponents have been lesser opponents, but at the same time, they're taking the football away. They're being aggressive. And that's one thing I know Kirby will be stressing to the offensive side of the ball. Take care of the football, because these guys will be after it. They're hungry for it. And then they're really good on third down. They've only given up 2 third downs out of 24 attempts this season in just 2 ball games. So they're stingy. That means they're doing something good on first and second down. We have to be productive on those early downs so we're not in third and long.
Shock, I'll stay with you for a sec here. I want to ask you about quarterbacks and kind of dissect the situation that we have right now with Georgia, certainly, and injuries to JT and some back issues have cropped up now for Stetson Bennett. So it's kind of a guessing game at this point. And South Carolina has a similar situation. Luke Doty was injured. Is he coming back this week? He had a foot problem. That we've heard the Zeb Nolan story, and that's a fascinating story. He's played the first 2 games. How do you dissect this whole quarterback situation, and what's the importance of that position in this game?
Oh, Scotty, it's definitely important. Obviously for South Carolina, having consistency there, having a guy who actually played in Doty, I think they were excited to have him when the season started. Whether he plays or not, as we know, coaches love to keep that to the vest, don't they? Yep. So it's hard to tell, but it'll be a tough, I'll say, format for him to come out here not playing in 2 games and have to face this Georgia defense. I'm not sure if Coach Beamer would be nice to go out and let him do that because of how well Georgia's been playing. That would just be outright cruel for his first game to be versus, a top 2 defense in the country. For Georgia, the unique thing that I've learned being able to be down on the sideline is I've had a chance to talk to these guys throughout the game. And I had a chance to talk to JT throughout the game. He was in high spirits. He said he was feeling well. And, everything you're hearing from Kirby throughout the week says, he's closer to feeling a lot better. Obviously, you don't want to hear what happened to Stetson, but at the end of the day, that position is most important because you're touching the football every single play. Your offense runs through those guys. They have to make checks. They have to make calls. All that stuff matters. And if you don't have that guy in there who consistently can do it, that's an issue. But like we just mentioned, this is the first game in the SEC. This is the SEC opener on prime time at 7 o'clock in your home place. If, your back doesn't feel better when you walk into that stadium or your oblique doesn't feel a little bit better when you walk in there and feel that energy, then something's wrong with you. So I expect both these guys to be ready to go when it comes 7 o'clock on Saturday night.
Kev, your thoughts on the quarterback, and does it matter at this point who's going to start?
Does it matter? It does matter. I'm not sure who it matters to. I don't know if this offense, I've been on teams and DJ's been on teams when you have a certain quarterback in there, you feel better, you feel more confident. I think the way that it's happened with Georgia recently is I think the offense is probably comfortable with a number of guys back there because it's been that kind of rotating door, and it's not been because of bad performance. It's been because of injuries here and there, transfers coming in, different people getting shots that have the capability to play. So if it was a search for a quarterback, that would worry me much more than, the next man up. You hear that a lot. You hear it a lot with Kirby. And it sounds just like DJ, heard the same thing on the sideline. Now I feel good. If my numbers call, I'm ready to go. And I think that's the best thing for it. I'd like to see some consistency in it just from a standpoint of, the more consistent an offense is, the more you're going to have a chance to be consistently winning. So I think the guys are all playing at a good level right now. I would like to see JT get back in there. He seemed to have won the job before it started. You usually don't lose it through injuries, but boy, if Stetson's in there, I was not expecting Stetson last week. I was vocal about that. I was dead wrong. And I'm glad I was wrong. It was an unbelievable performance. And if he can go out there and do it again, put him out there, put the JT out there, put whoever's the healthiest out there, because they complement the team. They don't just drive the team. Georgia's got a lot of weapons.
All right, real quick, final thing here. Georgia is a big favorite. You guys see this game playing out like that, or is it going to be much tighter?
I think I see it playing out that way. I don't see this South Carolina team coming in and scoring much on our defense. Our defense is very, very, very good. I enjoy watching them. When I get calls from my old 1985 Bears defense and they say they like watching our defense, I have confidence in them. And I see it something like about literally 41-6.
Yeah, I mean, if Kev's 85 Bears is saying that, guess what? I'm riding with that too, because those dudes know how to get after people, and our defense has done the same. So, just looking over the first 2 ball games for South Carolina, if they're not able to put up points against those style of defenses, then I have no way in the world how they're going to score points against our defense, who has been really stingy. And we know how bad Kirby wants to keep them out of the end zone. I just don't see him being able to keep up scoring points with our offense, and our offense, it looks like we're coming into his own, starting to click more.
Well, let's hope that's the case. We need to mitigate some Gamecocks. Guys, thank you very much. Y'all have a good week, and we'll see you on Saturday. We hope to see you on Saturday too, or at least, on the radio. We start at 3 o'clock with Kevin and Jeff, and we got some changes on the radio, so you want to tune in for this special broadcast this week of Georgia football. The Dogs and the Gamecocks kick it off 7:05 Saturday night, Sanford Stadium. Georgia Bulldogs Sports Network coverage starts at 3. We hope to see you then. Go Dogs.
Go Dogs.
Go Dogs.